Alright, so the next story in this annual for the MMPR Halloween special is Terrortoad's Trick or Treat Takeover, written by Megan Camarena, illustrated by Zachary Sterling, coloured by Joshua Jensen, and of course, lettering done by Ed Dukeshire. So, Megan is no stranger to writing Power Ranger comics or working on Power Ranger comics. She's done a few stories in the annuals before. She also helped Melissa work on the Hyperforce story as well. And of course, you know Megan from Power Rangers Hyperforce, who played Chloe. So this is a fun little story. It's very random, very silly with what the story is, and that's what I do like about these Halloween stories. Like, they're not too action heavy, they're not too serious, they're not too lore driven with like Easter eggs and stuff in there. They're just like random fun stories that they put together for, Halloween. But if you want to check out like Boom doing darker Halloween stuff, I'd recommend checking out Hello Darkness. You even have R.L. Stein from Goosebumps working on that. Unrelated, but hey, if you want like a different horror vibe from Boom, check out Hello Darkness, I will say that. Now, as the title does suggest, this story does focus on the classic MMPR monster of the week, Terrortoad, which I'm sure it gave a lot of kids nightmares back in the day. It was a terrifying monster design that they cooked in Jewel Ranger, I will say that. Especially like the scenes where the Rangers were getting eaten. But this story has Terrortoad coming back, but he's got a fancy new neck collar to protect himself, because, the neck is the weakness for Terrortoad. So the Rangers are getting slowly eaten one by one, kind of like back in the old episode. It starts with Zach, and then Zach gets placed in a candy bowl, and the Rangers try and find a plan to defeat Terrortoad. So Trini's the next one that gets eaten, and then eventually, you've got Tommy and Kimberly getting eaten as well. They go inside the Terrortoad belly, which you do have some fun jokes in there, like when Tommy gets eaten, he says, "Where'd my hair go?" which is kind of a weird line because, he's morphed. So I don't know if you can feel the hair in his helmet, unless, but he gets turned into a little figure. But they get eaten, and then you've got this like random scene. Like I said, this is like Megan's random humor that you get in this book where, Chloe from Hyperforce just randomly shows up as a trick-or-treater, which kind of makes sense. I mean, she'd be jumping around the multiverse to look for candy. And you have this one scene where she looks in the candy bowl and she sees like the MMPR Rangers talking, and she says, "I gotta stop eating candy." So I kind of like that scene because, Megan inserting her own character in there as a little joke kind of laugh out of me. It'd be fun if we got to see like Chloe getting involved in this story, but it was a fun little gag. It happened. It was a lot of fun. But then you have another moment where Jason and Billy are being attacked by Terrortoad, and they take cover behind a stack of hay. And Jason has this bright idea to put on a pumpkin as a head, the sort of trick Terrortoad by saying, "Oh, he won't know what's us if he thinks we're pumpkins." And of course, Jason goes to attack, and he gets eaten by Terrortoad. And when he's in the belly, he says, "I regret nothing," which is so out of character for Jason to say something like that. But again, this is written by Megan, so it's like really wacky, really silly and goofy. So it's okay. Plus, it's like an anthology book, so if they're acting out of character, I guess that's totally fine. But Billy is eventually the last one standing in the end, and he goes to Trini and Zach for advice, and they give him like a piece of paper of what to do, where like step 1 is throw candy, step 2 is rip armor, step 3 is Billy smash. But Billy has this line where he's like, "Okay, time to cook," and he goes along with his plan, and he enacts it, throws the candy at the Rangers, and breaks the armor in the end. And then Terrortoad's defeated. So that's pretty much how the story ends. Like, they defeat Terrortoad in the end, and they save the day, which, again, this story is just wacky, silly, goofy fun, and I freaking love it. Like Megan, whenever she's involved in Power Ranger comics, you know that she's got that, like, fun sense of humor when she writes, like especially like the Chloe and the Vesper cooking story we got in Across the Morphin Grid, and then like the lines she wrote in Hyperforce as well for that one shot. Like, if you haven't seen Power Rangers Hyperforce, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea within the fandom, but hey, like even if you go back and watch it, it's still a lot of fun. Even the interactions with the actual Ranger actors themselves working on the RPG tabletop game. That was a lot of fun to see. Like, especially the JDF one. That's probably up there with one of my favorite ones they did. Like, the Dino Thunder JDF crossover and then the Draken one. That was a lot of fun to check out. But that was the Terrortoad story in the MMPR Halloween special. Next up is the Pumpkin Rapper story, so stay tuned for that when that video drops within the next couple of days. So with that said, I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, take care, bye.